Jordan Kratz's documentary, based on his family from the late 1920s to 1949, is the culmination of 3 years of work. The film focuses on the lives of Jews residing in the southeastern Carpathian Mountains in the towns of Lu, Belki Bushkal, Rachel, Hust, and Saget before, during, and after the Holocaust. Information is presented through interviews with family and friends who lived during World War II. The following is a list of those who have shared their childhood recollections. The immediate Kratz family includes Michael Kratz, the father of Jordan Kratz, Barry Kratz and wife Sarenka, the 3 sisters, Dory Kratz and husband Zoli Sklar, Julia Kratz and husband Rudy Wolf, and Esti Kratz, cousin Yetsu and husband Andor Kepitz, and cousin Ansi Rosenheck. The Schraders from Saget represent the Kratz family's maternal side. Manolo Schrader, brother to Rivka Schrader, who was the mother of Michael, Barry, Dory, Julia, and Esti Kratz, Lunchu Schrader and husband Meyer Mueller. Lunchu is Bertha Schrader's daughter. Bertha Schrader was Rivka's sister. Max and Rivka Five were the Kratz family's next-door neighbors in Lu. This is the first documentary which specifically deals with Jewish people living in the region. Now let us journey backwards and learn of the tribulations Jewish people faced in those times.
In the latter years of the 17th century, the Austrian Habsburgs defeated the Ottoman Turks, reuniting Hungary under their rule. The new ruler encouraged emigration to rebuild the war-torn lands, so these years saw the arrival of many Jewish families who would settle throughout the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Following the end of World War I, the Austro-Hungarian Empire was dissolved and the Czechoslovakian Republic was created. Carpathia was formed from part of eastern Slovakia along with the 4 most northeastern counties of Ung, Bereg, Uguska, and Marmaros. Marmaros was cut in half, for now its border would be the river Tisa. On the southern banks lay northern Transylvania in Romania. On the northern banks, the Czechoslovakian province of Carpathia. Escaping from the pogroms of Russian lands, they came in search of peace. Many settled in the region of the Carpathian Mountains. Jews became traders and also worked in the various essential skills necessary to the village, such as blacksmiths, cobblers, tailors, butchers, and in all other forms of employment. A great lumber industry was built up, and in the most remote spots one could find Jewish lumbermen and raftsmen who guided the wood to the larger cities by riverways. The countryside is one of hills, mountains, forests, farms, and rivers. There are many small villages, where most buildings are made of wood, and the mainstay of the region is built on agriculture. Primitive by our standards today, these people lived a simple life, but for what material goods they did not have, they made it up by their profound belief in God. Almost every Jew was Orthodox in practice. Most Jewish families dwelt along the main street, close to their businesses in the small village. Nearly every family owned a small garden, and many families also owned some domestic animals, like cows, horses, goats, and chicken. Geese was a favorite for everyone. The geese fat could be spread on bread. From the wealthiest to the poorest, all Jews contributed to the support of the community. The rabbis, teachers, and scholars were supported by their community. Usually, the first building in the Jewish community to be erected was that which housed the ritual pool called a mikveh. Jewish men and women would go here, but never together, to ritually purify oneself in order to go to services at the synagogue, or shul, as the house of prayer is called. A man was appointed to keep the water in the mikveh clean, as well as the shul and the grounds around it. The Jewish children all went to two separate schools, the public school and the Jewish school called a cheder. The cheder was a school where the children learned the Hebrew alphabet, Jewish life, and the Bible and reading. These cheders could be located in a teacher's house, its own building, or a room in the shul, depending on the wealth of the community. As the child grew older, he was initiated into the more complex ways of Jewish ritual. The holidays were all observed, with some being quite festive and interesting. There were certain holidays where all the Jews would sing and dance, carrying the Torah in their arms through the village streets almost all night long. Each week the Sabbath came, and so on Friday all the men would go to the mikveh, while the women set out clean silverware and tablecloths, while preparing the festive Sabbath meal. The Orthodox would prepare enough food for Saturday, because Jewish law forbid the preparing of food before sunset on Saturday. On Friday night, all the families stayed together, and after their meal, the elders would tell the young many wondrous stories. There was also family singing and dancing. Family life was very close in these days. Of course, there was little or no cars and no running water. The toilets were old-fashioned outhouses. Nearly every home had no electricity, and so people lived in harmony with the land around them. When there was a Jewish wedding, the whole village turned out, for these were festive times. There was loud music, singing, dancing, and drinking and eating. Sometimes a wedding could go on for days. By the 1930s, there were Hebrew gymnasiums, youth groups, summer camps, and the young grew up dreaming of the modern world.
Well, Lou was situated between Veliki Bachkov and Rachov. It was a small little town, and there were about 30 Jewish families. Now, I don't know if it was 150 or 200 people, because most of the families which were